The Duster is back. Yes, we waited for this moment for quite some time now because, well, this is a car that's had a lot of love in India. It's very popular. The brand still really strong for Renault. Joining me now is Fabrice Cambolive, who, of course, is more excited than me today, I think.
Yeah, of course, it's a very important moment for us.
A lot of us think so too. And, you know, the anticipation, of course, has been there for a long time. There was a lot of questions as to why you're not bringing the Duster to India. It's finally here. There's a lot riding on it. What makes it so important, not just for your India business, but you know, in a global sense as well? Why is this model so important?
But this model is so important because, as you can see, it's a global car, but it's a global car with a very important Indian touch, because that was one of the first cars we launched in India with a lot of success, and we wanted to come back with the right recipes. The automotive world evolved a lot in the last years, and now if you want to be successful, you have to get the right energy. That's why we are launching it in hybrid. You have to get the right connectivity. That's why we are putting Google inside. And of course, you have to be bold in terms of design because it's India. And I would like to thank all the Indian team who succeeded to draft this kind of very powerful car.
All right, lots of questions coming out of what you just said. So first up, I think, you know, the expectation, the fact that this is such a loved brand. Like you said, you know, I mean, this was one of the first cars that became a big success for you. In fact, I think more people knew Duster than they knew Renault.
Yeah, for sure.
Given that kind of a legacy and given the fact that you've had a few years gap now, the competition has certainly brought a lot to the market.
Sure.
This was the first car to create the segment, but, you know, then you got criticized for not bringing the successor. How do you make up for lost ground?
I think you know, we are in a world where the automotive is evolving very rapidly. In the past, we were doing cars in 5 years. Now we are doing it in 2 years.
Yes.
But not only that, in terms of development, but you have also a big evolution in terms of energy mix. And when you look at what happened in some other regions in the world, for instance, hybrid replaced diesel. It's not the case in India because, of course, the diesel is still a big part of the mix. But you see that the market is changing rapidly. You see that the electrification of the market will grow. And will it grow, it can be a game changer for the evolution of the market. That's why what we decided is really to be in this electrification of the market. And for that, we decided tough choices. And the fact to put an hybrid in the car is very important for us. And what we wanted to do with that is not to lose the pleasure of driving the car. Because I think Duster was a game changer in terms of body, in terms of SUV style. But it was also something very different because everybody was praising the dynamic of the car. Yeah. And when you will test drive the car, you will see that the ride and handling is really at the top of the market, and that's what we wanted to do with this new car.
The ride quality, I remember the monocoque, the first time the segment got one. It was a game changer. Now, you already mentioned the D word. I'm going to have to ask you this because, see, when you announced that this car is coming, when you officially announced, we've been talking about it for a long time, but when you finally said that, yes, 26th January, it's coming back, the big rhetoric online, especially on social media, was, look, they have to do diesel because the Duster is synonymous with diesel. I get what you're saying about how dynamics have changed. You're trying to also, of course, bring hybrid as that option. But are you worried about losing like this huge fan base?
No, I think we have.
Or aren't you worried?
No. we have to do the job on the contrary. It means we have to convince people that now an hybrid can replace a diesel and can be better than a diesel. That's why we have to be competitive in terms of price. That's why they have to test the car and to see that the consumption is a real plus. And more than the consumption, this capacity to drive at the same time electric and IC is very important because you will see that, and you can see that because you are an expert, you gain a lot in terms of comfort, in terms of noise, in terms of torque. And this is very important. But on the other end, what is important is that we don't have just only hybrid in our engine lineup, because we have a very, very competitive 1.3 turbo, which is at the highest level in terms of torque, and which is adjusted to the customer needs in many regions of India.
So a couple of quick follow-ups to that. The first is, then why not have the hybrid at the start? Why not? I mean, I know that the deliveries will come later.
Yeah, but the delivery will come very rapidly. Of course, we want to test absolutely the car in the Indian conditions, and that's why we have a little lag between IC and hybrid version, but it will come very soon.
Quick thing about this whole sort of bringing technology to the consumer. That's a big piece of where today's buyer sees, puts a lot of attention. They have a lot of stress on that. You've got the Google Assistant, you've got, of course, ADAS, you've got a whole lot of the connected car suite. Again, making sure that you were offering, was it to sort of bring what the market expects, or do you want to go like one notch higher?
I think it's, if you want to make a good car today, you have to be very balanced and focused also on the pure quality of the car. You saw that we are launching that with a 7 years warranty. If you commit like that, you have to be secure that the product will be very good. And I think that we are living in a very changing world in terms of technology, not only on the engines, but also on the connectivity with a lot of ADAS, driving aids. And what is for me the most important is to be capable to integrate this modernity, but at the same time to be very good in terms of driving and dynamic. And this is something where you need a know-how, and at the end the customer will decide, but you never have to lose this kind of direction, because at the end, when you be at the steering wheel, you will feel the difference in terms of robustness, in terms of capacity, but also in terms of dynamic. And this is the most important for me.
You mentioned that you have to be competitive on price. I understand why, of course. Is it fair to assume that you're going to be aggressive with volumes, like you want this to have a lot of high sales numbers, because the segment is huge?
I think the sales are a result. What we have to secure is the highest level of localization of the car in India, because India became a very, very competitive market now. And of course, you are doing showing the path in terms of competitiveness. It means for us what is very important is to do this car a real localized Indian car. As you could see, most of the team now is very, very Indian. We are working together between all the technology center in Europe and the technology center in India. You saw that they are very proud about the car they did, and I think for me that's a proof that we want to deeply localize the car and to be competitive. That's the main stake. After that, the sales will come if the product is good and the price at the right level.
And are there other markets who would take the car from the Indian production as well?
Yes, of course. I think that India has always been for us a huge export hub, and we want to further go on this direction. Of course, a lot of countries in Asia, in Africa, South Africa, in Middle East will benefit from this car. But not only that, I think that most of the cross-car line technology we are putting in the car could be also the base of a global Duster in many regions, for instance in Latin America also.
Well, you also promised us the other car that's coming, and of course I know the alliance partner gets the platform as well. So I know lots of people waiting to talk to you. One last thing I want to talk about is that platform. You mentioned heavy localization is key. You've talked about how so much has been adapted. Even in the presentation we heard about how this is almost like a for India platform. Why was it important to do that? One part, of course, you've explained is the localization. But is there, wouldn't there have been a cost benefit to just bring the exact same platform as you have, let's say, for Dacia or for Europe?
No, because you don't have the same energy mix. Because when you localize the platform here, you can also localize suppliers with specific parts. Yeah. And of course, because this platform is part of a future product family, and this is what is important. What we learned from the past is that in India, you can secure your presence if you just launch a car and after that, it happens nothing. Yeah. When you launch a car, you already have to think when will be the next, and the next should come as soon as possible. That's why we are localizing the platform here.
Well, we're waiting for that next one, but today is not the day to talk about that. You obviously have expectations. I can see your Gang of Dusters jacket with the new logo. Is this going to be a cult car again in India?
I think I think what we should achieve is really to give the upper satisfaction to our customers, and if we can build on top a community like we did in the past, all our customers will be welcome.
Well, the energy with your team was fabulous today. We wish you all the very best. Congratulations.
We felt a lot of energy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And from you also.
Thanks for your time.